chanting of Hare Krishna to be an imagination. 6, to give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. 8, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in Vedas as fruitive activities, Karmakanda. 9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired of Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everybody to join the conference call today. Let's move on to the next session. Before moving, I would like to announce Krishna Smita Mataji from Charlotte left her body this morning. We request all the devotees to pray for her soul to reach better destination. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's go to the next session. Would like to let us move to the next session. Let's introduce ourselves to the call. Please, Mataji, may I know who all have joined this morning?
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Preeti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Dasi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvind Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, and to all the assembled devotees. This is Megha from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Megha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and associate and the devotees. This is Kirti from Australia, Melbourne. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kirti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Induleka Karna Devidasi from Lincoln.
Hare Krishna, Induleka Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. I would like to hand over the call to Tiffany Mataji to give brief introduction. Today we are fortunate to have His Grace. Sorry, Mataji. Today we are fortunate to have His Grace Radha Pramod Das Prabhuji for enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 16th chapter and 20th verse. Before handing over the call to Prabhuji, I would like to hand over the call to Tiffany Mataji for giving brief introduction about Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Please take over the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This morning, we welcome His Grace Radha Pramod Prabhuji. Prabhuji came to Krishna consciousness in 2001 and took initiation from His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj in 2006. Radha Pramod Prabhuji completed courses at Bhaktivedanta Vidyapit from BVRC, and he has rendered such services as managing a preaching center in Hyderabad, training and educating corporate youth, giving daily sessions on Asta TV and other local channels. And Radha Pramod Prabhuji also conducts online Bhagavatam sessions for many devotee groups around India. Thank you so much for joining us today, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time and association this morning, Prabhuji, and enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Please take over the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I need one help. Actually, I had small. You can share the screen with the shloka, Mataji. Then I'll start, because for me there is some technical issue. I cannot share my screen, but I will be able to. Yes, Mataji. Thank you very much. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. Nashtaprayesha Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Rittam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nishtati Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. This is the verse continuation. These are the instructions that Chitraketu Maharaj is receiving. So he got the mantra of the Lord, and now the further shlokas are describing about the Lord. Atmana Duna Bhuteva Nashta Satya Urmi Namaha Rishikesha Mate Namaste Anta Murtaye. So, Atma Ananda, of your personal bliss, Anubhutya, by perception, Eva, certainly, Nashya, give up, Shakti Urne, the waves of material nature, Namaha, respectful obeisances, Rishikesha, unto the supreme controller of the senses, Mahate, unto the supreme, Namaha, respectful obeisances, they unto you, Ananta, unlimited, Murtaye, whose expansions. We can take it. Translation. Perceiving your personal bliss, you are always transcendental to the waves of material nature. Therefore, my Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. You are the supreme controller of the senses, and your expansions of forms are unlimited. You are the greatest, and therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. This verse analytically differentiates the living entity from the Supreme Lord. The form of Lord and the form of the conditioned soul are different, because the Lord is always blissful, whereas the conditioned soul is always under the threefold miseries of material world. The Supreme Lord is Satchidananda Vigraha. He derives Ananda, bliss, from his own self. The Lord's body is transcendental, spiritual, but because the conditioned soul has a material body, he has many bodily and mental troubles. The conditioned soul is always perturbed by attachment and detachment, whereas the Supreme Lord is always free from the clutch such dualities. The Lord is the supreme master of all the senses, whereas the conditioned soul is controlled by the senses. The Lord is greatest, whereas the living entity is smallest. The living entity is conditioned by waves of material nature, but the Supreme Lord is transcendental to all the actions and reactions. The expansions of the Supreme Lord's body are innumerable. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. But the conditioned soul is limited to only one form. From history, we learn that a conditioned soul, by mystic power, can sometimes expand into 8 forms. But the Lord's body expansions are unlimited. This means that the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no beginning and no end, unlike the bodies of the living entities. So, this is actually a nice verse to explain and understand.
Prabhuji,
Oh, go ahead, Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, we cannot hear you or see you. Are you there?
Prabhuji got dropped off, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Yeah, Prabhu is back on.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Prabhuji, go ahead.
So this is a very interesting verse. Here, I wanted to start from the last part of this verse, where Prabhupada is telling the conditioned soul is limited to only one form. From the history, we learn that the conditioned soul, by mystic power, can sometimes expand into 8 forms. But the Lord's body's expansions are unlimited. This means that the bodies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no beginning and no end, unlike the bodies of the living entities. So we'll try to understand this point first, and then we'll start with the other things. So here, unlimited in the sense, like if we see the forms of the Lord from beginning, it is Krishna, and then the forms go on multiplying unlimited ways. We have Kaya Rupa expansions, Tadaikatma Rupas of the Lord, and then there is Swamsha, Vibhinnamshas, and then there is Lord's so many expansions. And in one way, they are same person, Krishna only. But Krishna wanted to enjoy, that's why he expands into Narayana forms. Sankarshana Pradyumna to Narayana, again Sankarshana to Narayana. And then we have different expansions in different avatars which Lord comes. Not only that, he comes in Shiktavesh avatars, he comes as many Manvantara avatars, all his Purusha avatars, all his expansions, if you see, it's so much, it's unlimited. That's what here, it's unlimited, because when you say unlimited, it becomes impersonal, but it is not like that. Here, unlimited means unlimited forms only, but means he has a form, but he can have unlimited forms. This is very difficult for impersonalists to understand. They say, if you say anything unlimited, how can an unlimited have form? That is the problem they will have. Like now, air is unlimited. If air is unlimited and everywhere there, that means it cannot have a form. But Lord can be unlimited, but still can have a form. This is the speciality of the Lord. That's why he is inconceivable. We cannot understand how it is possible. Like when Krishna is performing his Leela in Vrindavan, he is expanding as all. In Brahma Viman Leela, he expanded as all the cowherd boys. That means it is possible for him to expand unlimitedly. And then every form, every cowherd boy is different only. It's not the same root. And all habits, all the mannerisms, everything, the nature of the boy, everything Krishna exhibited. None of the mothers thought he's somebody. No, everybody thought my child only. That means Krishna can have unlimited forms and Krishna can enjoy also in that way. This is possible with Krishna. And same thing, he expands as Vishnu, he expands as different, all forms. He enjoys like a fish. Like now, every Leela Lord takes, he has a particular purpose. So Lord tells 2-3 reasons in Bhagavad Gita, but there are many other reasons also. Like Lord is coming as Matsya Avtara, he's as Kurma Avtara. Now, Kurma Avtara, it is said, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur gives this commentary. He says that Kurma Avtara, why Lord took the form of a tortoise? Now we say, what is so much about tortoise? You can have some other form, right? Why tortoise? So it is said that because these Mayavadis, they say Lord does not have form, they criticize the Lord. Lord feels an itching sensation. Somebody is so much irritating, or like they say some bad things about him, it is itching for the Lord. To overcome the itching sensation, Lord takes this Kurma form. And then when this Mandara Parvat mountain is kept on the Lord, and they start churning, all this Asuras, the help of Vasuki, Devatas and Danavas, they are churning. Then they scratch the Lord's body. Then he will get relief from the itching. And then he gives a sign of relief, and he breathes a relief air, and because of which the waves are formed. Until now the waves are coming. That is because Lord gave one big relief. So this is the point, that Lord he is performing this Leela. That is important point. Now for us the difference is, for Lord it's all Leela. Leela means what? Leela means it's a pleasure only. For Lord everything is pleasure. Leela means it's a sport. For small children, 3 years, 4 years, in India, they don't have any responsibilities. All they have to do, whole day they play. That is the Leela. Lord also don't have any responsibility. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. For everything is sport only. He is trying to enjoy in all possible ways by expanding himself in different forms, in aquatics and animals, in birds. Like Gajendra is praying, you have different forms. Mudhaya Gunadamini, Nirvisheshaya Samyaya Mudhaya Gunadamini. So you come as Mudha. Mudha means you come in animal form also. So that is what he's praying. Now this is how Lord is unlimitedly expanding, because he wanted to enjoy unlimitedly. He don't have anything to do other than enjoying only. And he enjoys in different, and is always blissful. Like even when he comes as Lord Rama and is getting separated from Mother Sita, it's all Leela only. He gets that emotion of separation from Mother Sita. He enjoys that. He comes as Narsingadev, and then he wanted to enjoy. The purposes for Lord to come in this form and enjoy. One is his Leela, he want to enjoy. Second is he want to provide bliss and happiness to his devotees, because when Lord comes, we have opportunity to discuss about him. Third is to establish Dharma. And the last reason is to annihilate the demons, so that the systems are nicely restored. And also to attract the conditioned souls who are suffering. This is also one of the main reasons. Like Lord Chaitanya is coming, and all of the others, they come to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls. In that way, Lord is having. And then even the expansions of the Lord to deliver this living entities from this material world, because unlimited living entities are there. This Leelas of delivering living entities also eternal goes. Now anyway, so this is the one word we can We can so much discuss how Lord is unlimited. This is and now we wanted to expand. Even within my room also, I'm from down, I came up. So some lighting will be there. So I cannot expand. One form is in my kitchen, one form is in the reading room, one form on the terrace, one form in the balcony. It is not possible for us. Some yogis can have 8 forms, Prabhupada is telling. But for Lord, he can have unlimited forms. That's why even though he is unlimited, he is having a form like that. So this is clear for all of us. Just I wanted to make a point here and explain that point. Now, what Prabhupada is telling that this verse analytically differentiate the living entity from Supreme Lord. The form of the Lord and the form of conditioned souls are different because the Lord is always blissful, whereas the conditioned soul is always under the threefold miseries of material world. And this is very important. The Lord is Satchidananda and he derives Ananda, bliss from his own self. The Lord's body is transcendental, spiritual, but because the conditioned soul has a material body, has many bodily and mental troubles. So this part we will discuss. Now what happens is, we are given this body and mind. For Supreme Lord, there is no difference. His body, mind, everything is spiritual. But for us, it is not. That's why we are so much caught up in this material world. We will try to discuss. Of course, you might have very elaborate discussions because that was the topic of discussion in the previous verses also. In the first section of this chapter where the living entity is brought back and then he's the Jiva, Chitraketu's son was brought back and he asked Nardmuni, which father you are talking about, which mother you are talking about. No, in that you might have elaborately discussed, but again, I will touch some points which are my understanding. And because we need to revise this again and again so that we get realization. This is, of course, very much theory for many, because even for Arjuna also it was a theory part, but that's how we can, by discussing again and again by application, because when Krishna told Arjuna, you are not the body, spirit, soul, then Arjuna said, so what? Should I fight or not? So it is not easy to realize that we are not the body, spirit, soul. But when we start analyzing, slowly, we come to that understanding. And what happens is, we will be able to free from some level of misery. And more by practicing. So when Krishna tells the signs of soul in the second chapter, immediately it looks like he's changing the topic. After 36 shlokas, he explains from 20 to 30, actually explains about 20 to 30. 31, he explains that you are not the body, spirit, soul. And then he says, okay, then now start fighting. He didn't change topic, actually. Krishna is telling that to understand that we are not the body, spirit, soul, you need to engage your body and mind properly so that you will get that realization. That is the point. Now we are given this material body and mind. It for what? Because the living entity want to enjoy in this material world. That is why. So the greatest gift Lord gave a living entity to enjoy in this material world is mind. Because of mind, what happens is, mind will very easily help us to enjoy in this material world. First thing, what mind will tell? That you are very special. And then Lord gave speech, then Lord gave eyes, then Lord gave, for every senses Lord has given the living entity. These are all foreign for us. The body, the senses, the mind, they're all foreign to us. It's not for the living entity. Because the living entity want to enjoy, these things are given to him. And because these things are given, as soon as we are given something, we start, and along with that, because we have very big, strong, false, not strong, but false ego. Sometimes it is strong, sometimes it is weak. False ego is strong for somebody, and strong false ego is actually recommended. if you want to grow materially or spiritually also. Spiritual also, if somebody has very strong ego, he can spiritually also make very fast progress, because ego is the one which helps a living entity to perform his activities very nicely. Like in India, this saying is there: if somebody is very lazy, they will tell them, get him married. Why? Because his ego will start developing. He'll start identifying. That's how it works. And this is how it is given. So these things are given to a living entity. What happens is, when this ego is very strong, materially also person is making big industries, big this thing, big that thing. That is because of ego. And when the same person, if he is able to convince him spirituality, there also he can do very big, and it will help him to progress. Otherwise, if you don't identify anything, like I identify as I'm servant of Krishna, like Prabhupada disciples, they were very powerful personalities. They could do preaching in big new country, new place, new where, and they are so much identifying themselves with Prabhupada, and their ego was properly situated. That's why it helped them to make so much progress very fast. That is the point. Now, what I want to tell here is, these are all foreign to us. This body, mind, senses, these are all foreign to us. That is why we are here. Prabhupada is telling, we are conditioned to. We have many bodily and mental troubles. So, but because the conditioned souls as material body has many bodily and mental troubles. Everybody has this experiences of body and mental troubles. Some points I will tell. Why we get troubles is, we start identifying so much. What identification we do? We identify with the body. That is okay. We all identify, and it's not so easy to get out of it. And where mental trouble comes is, mental trouble comes when we start identifying not only with our things, we identify with the people. Especially in India, this problem is so much. In foreign West, it is not so much, but in India, this problem is there. And West, there is another problem. We'll analyze that. Indian problem, we'll see. India, what happens? Like if I'm a father, I have children, and if wife is there, then I'll start identifying with all of them. And if they do anything wrong, immediately I feel very much offended. I start getting upset. If they do good, if children get good marks, father is very happy. If they don't get good marks, he's really very upset. Why it is happening? Because of this identification. That's all mental problem. People are very in an emotional state. They don't use their intelligence, buddhi. And this is the mental truth they very much face. And if the child does wrong, everybody is affected. Child is doing good, everybody is affected. This is the mental problem. So much identification with the person. First is with themselves and with the people who are connected. This is where we start identifying. This is all because of false identifications. We are caught up and we are suffering very badly in this material world. Not only in this lifetime, life after life, we are going through these sufferings and problems. And like I was discussing on devotee, and he was telling, bro, my wife is not practicing nicely. I said, she will take, but she's doing this thing wrong. She's not following standards. She's watching TV. She's watching some serials. And then she's doing this. I said, okay, give her some time, because everybody needs their space and they will grow their own pace. And everybody has their own conditionings. They may have faith, but they also have conditioning. What happens is, why he is having trouble? Because he says, my wife should be according to my standard. That is a problem. No, they also is your wife only, but you need not identify so much, because there is separate living entity. That living entity has some freedom, and they go according to it. We only have to facilitate them to become Krishna conscious, and we have to facilitate according to their level. If they are in a 8th grade class, you cannot give them engineering level or graduate level syllabus to follow. If they're in 8th grade, you teach them 8th grade so that they'll go to 9th, and then like that they can come to graduation. But if you give them graduation syllabus at 8th class state, they'll not be able to clear. Anyway, the point what I am telling is, the identification is so much. That's why we have trouble within our families also. These all problems is the problem with conditioning is mental conditioning is these are some of the mental conditionings. I start identifying with the situations. I start identifying with the people. I start identifying with all the facilities I have, and then I start feeling I'm great, or I'm very loser. I'm got exploited. I got cheated, or and we start blaming others. All these things are mental troubles which a living entity has only because of one reason. He's having problem with this mental level. He has many bodily and mental troubles, and Prabhupada is telling the conditioned soul is always perturbed by attachment and detachment, whereas Supreme Lord is always free. And because this is also very strong in all living entities, the attachment and detachment, because they're the other side of the same coin, attachment or detachment. We are not attached or detached. We should be knowing that it is connected to Krishna. So detachment is if there is some sort of hate. Attachment is there is lust. So these are both same. But that's what with the family we should not be attached or detached. We should be affectionate, connected to Krishna, and serve them. This is what Lord is trying to teach Arjuna also. Not that devotees don't have emotions, but they are not attached. This is a difference. That is what Lord is trying to teach. And if we are able to come to that platform, then we can enter into spiritual world where people are properly placed. The position, they know the position of Lord, and they know the position of all the energies of the Lord. Here we have problem with understanding the energies of the Lord. We are disconnecting the Lord with his energies. That's why we start thinking this is mine. I am doing it, I am achieving it. We are getting conditioned. No, none of the things we can do it. Even though we make endeavor, even though my senses are very powerful to do it, even though the circumstances are there and I have strong desire to do, in spite of all these things, it is not me because of which these things are happening. It is because of the sanction of Supreme Lord only. That is the real understanding. But somehow it does not happen very easily. People cannot understand this very easily in this material world. They have this very, very strong identification with their achievements, which is not actually real. Like, no matter how much a person is working hard, and we may say he worked very hard and he made a good business, he worked very hard and he achieved good rank in his good grade in his subject. He worked very hard, but that is not connected to the result. Result is sanctioned by the Lord. Somebody may work hard, but he may not get it. Somebody may not work very, very hard, but he can get it because sanctioned by the Lord. On what basis? Yeah, based on his credits of punya in previous life. That is one of the things. Anyway, that is not our topic of discussion. But the point what I want to tell is how we are getting conditioned. That's the point I wanted to make. That how these things are troubling us, which is not for the Lord. Because for Lord, for a living entity, because he's so tiny, it is very easy to get conditioned. Too easy to get covered by ignorance. There is Prakshepatmika Shakti and Avarnaka Shakti, which very easily covers a living entity. And that's what Lord Chaitanya, for us in Kali Yuga, this is the easiest method to come out of it is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What happens is, when we are chanting, this is the solution part. what happens is when any sound vibration comes, first it comes to the senses, our eardrum, and eardrum will vibrate. And that vibration goes to then it converts into some electromagnetic waves or something. It goes to our manas. There it is, basically it's chitta. The information is stored there. It calculates. It will tell what this person is speaking. Oh, this person is talking about Krishna or something. And then generally what happens is above manas is what? Above manas is buddhi. And then it should go to buddhi for analyzing. And it goes to manas, to first chitta and then manas, where it is told it is good subject or bad subject. If you like the speaker, manas will say yes, good class. I don't like the speaker, manas will say forget about it. You log off, we'll see some other class, some other person. So there is judgmental part with our manas. But buddhi is a discriminative power, which is higher than manas, which says, no, it's about Krishna. No matter who is speaking, if you have some little bit hearing also, it will benefit us like that. Now, what happens in general is all the information that we are getting, any sound vibration, it ends at the level of manas only. Very few goes to the buddhi. Now, in Vedic tradition, here in India, they actually pierce the ears not to just keep the earrings. Even for male also they do it. This is karna bheda, they call it. In the childhood only it is done. Because there are some particular points in the body. And here if it is pierced, why it is pierced? For the children only they do it. For the brahmacharis, they are very small. Because by piercing, it is actually help them that the sound vibration not just going at the level of manas, it can reach more deeper to the level of buddhi, where it's a discriminative power, where it is able to analyze things properly. That's what it is made of. When we chant the holy name, this is not just at the level of manas, it goes much more deeper. At the level of buddhi and at the level of soul also it can reach. That's why we need to chant very attentively. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is a very important understanding. When we are chanting the holy name, it's not just at the level of our manas. Normally information like person is watching a movie, and till where that information goes, it should go till manas only. If it goes till buddhi, person cannot enjoy the movie. Why? Because all this enjoyment is at the level of manas only. You need to be emotional to enjoy. Say a person is watching a movie, he cannot use his discriminative power. If he is discriminative power, he can never enjoy anything. A person need to be in proper ignorance to enjoy in this material world. If he does not have sufficient ignorance, then he cannot get much enjoyment here. Why? Because he can see reality. Like say somebody is watching a movie, and in movie a hero can jump from this building to another building. And if normally if I stand here, if I look at the next building, it is impossible to jump. Hardly he will cross this the boundary of the building, and he will definitely break his leg. If our head also may break, that is sure. But in a movie, it is possible. Why? Because you don't use intelligence. You imagine that he is jumping, and imagine that he is doing certain things, because there need to be some enjoyment. Similarly, any enjoyment in this metal world, you really have to imagine so much. Even and many of the, like, why this is how the living entity is caught. And another thing we see, the living entities, the desire to enjoy is so strong. Now, people have remote in their hand when they sit in front of TV, and they are changing. What they are searching? They are searching for happiness. When you are scrolling your screen for new and new videos, shorts and Instagram videos, in your Twitter, why people are always moving their finger up, They are searching. What they are searching for? Searching for happiness. But here, what Prabhupada is telling is, Lord is Atmarama. So he is self-satisfied. The Lord is the greatest, whereas the living entity is smallest. And for the Lord, he derives Ananda, bliss from his own self. This is Lord. For living entity, we need to always scroll our screen and waiting. Even we come for class also, we also search for some nectar. What pleasure I am going to get from this. And we get trapped and we come to Bhagavatam because they tell you cannot enjoy. And I just took some group of devotees to Mayapur. I just came yesterday. Now it's actually one-way cheating because some of them were not devotees. But after coming to Mayapur, and it was a group of almost 30, and a 35, 6 were not devotees. Some were practicing. After coming to Mayapur, then they came to know the reality that this material world is not a place of enjoyment. Now, it is very sad for them to know this. Oh, we cannot enjoy here in this material world. And Lord Chaitanya came. The Lord himself is coming to tell this. And they have seen such a big environment and everybody is chanting. And they also started chanting. And now once they go back to their village and they want to go back to their routine, have their tea, coffee, sit in front of TV. But now because some illusion is gone, they feel little sad, or I cannot enjoy it. My remote or scrolling the screen. When they were there a few days in Mayapur, they gave up all the things. Now when they go back, it becomes difficult. They cannot, even though they want to enjoy, back of the mind, it is always haunting. What you will enjoy? This is not reality, only reality is something else. This is what happens. So for Lord, his Ananda is within. For us, we have to search outside all the time. And all the search is any channel or anything, there is search button. And anything we are typing in the search, actually we are typing happiness only. We are searching anything, we search for happiness. And these people also came to Mayapur. They were searching that, okay, after that we had a realization session in the end. They said, we want to come for a pleasure trip. But we got something else. So they are searching for happiness. When we go for any other tours or any travels, it's all search. We all search. The people search in marriage, people search in children, people search in so many things, happiness. But somehow, to get convinced that all our search will end when we come to the lotus feet of Krishna. And that is possible when we chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's how it is, where all our search will end. When we know, Satyam Satyam Punah Satyam, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kacharyam Vispatam Ratnam, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Sagurum Sapita Chapi, Samata Bandhava. So in the Kevalastakam, it is said that I have given up the very valuable holy name, which is, I thought it's some piece of glasses, but it's actually diamond. But only truth, and I say again and again, the truth and only truth is the holy name of Lord Hari is everything. And there our search will end. So, and because Lord is blissful, when we associate with something blissful, we also remain blissful. That's the point. And his own, the Lord's body is transcendental, spiritual, but because the condition so is a material body as material bodily and material doubles. The conditions is always perturbed by attachment, whereas Supreme Lord is always free from such dualities. The Lord is Supreme Master of all senses, whereas conditioned soul is controlled by the senses. And we are all sincerely, very nicely serving our senses. And I am also no exception. We serve our senses. We want to eat very, very nicely, satisfy the tongue, satisfy our ears, eyes. And we want to have nice air conditionings. I came in the summers on our terrace is very pleasing. So we want to satisfy our skin. So like that, we are searching for the pleasure, hunting for the pleasure, and serving the senses very faithfully, not knowing that satisfying the senses is not the satisfaction of heart. Satisfying the senses is just it's on a very, very superficial mental level only. But somehow the ego identifies so much that we cannot come out of it so easily. And we can very much see it all levels. And what happens is, if we are going on satisfying like this, Lord actually allows that to happen. And that's actually the problem. Why so many species of living entities are there? Because they want to satisfy.
Prabhu, you froze, Prabhu.
Mataji?
Oh. For a quick 1 second, you kind of froze, Prabhu. Now you're okay. I can hear you.
So there is a public display of affection. People are trying to show their affection in public. What happens is, like now people want to show their affection to their girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, in front of everybody, and others may feel little inconvenient. In India especially, that happens, that people are little inconvenient that people are showing affection in the public, and the vibration are also felt by the people who wanted to show. Then Lord says, okay, don't worry. If you want to show your affection publicly, then better you take a body of a cat or a dog. If they show affection in the public, then nobody has any problem. So material nature facilitates the living entities' desire to satisfy the senses in different ways. If somebody want to eat unlimitedly, if you eat unlimitedly, then people say, "Arey, you are having." Uh, they may comment, "Arey, you are eating unlimitedly like an elephant." They will comment like that. But then Lord says, okay, don't worry, I'll give you a body of an elephant. Nobody comments an elephant that you are so much eater, you are eating the whole day you are eating. Nobody comments an elephant. With the size of body also, even though everything looks round for an elephant, nobody comments that body of an elephant. And material nature is facilitating. That's why we have so many species, because that is the way of satisfying. That's how the living entity is satisfying the senses in different ways. And here they're controlled by the senses. What is the proof they are controlled by the senses? So many species of life are there. That is the proof. That means all the way we are satisfying. Somebody is eating so much of non-vegetarian. The material nature facilitates. Okay, you want to eat non-veg, this body is not suitable. If you eat so much, then it will troubles you. You need a body where you can eat like that. Where you can eat fishes, you take now you want to sleep nicely, take a polar bear. You want to eat fishes, then you pick up some other shark or something. You want to, whatever way you want to satisfy the senses, that is why so many. And all the permutation combinations and whatever maximum a living entity's mind can imagine is 84 lakh species. And within that range, all our desires will fall. The Lord says, okay, all species are facilitating that type of desire for the living entity senses. So this is another thing. The living entities conditioned soul is controlled by the senses. And Lord is the greatest, where the living entity is smallest. And living entity is conditioned by the waves of material nature. But the Supreme Law is transcendental to this wave. And this waves of material nature is all these different things that happen to living entities, the situations, the people around them, and then so many happiness, distress, all these things, so much trouble, and people are always complaining, this is not good, that is not good. This is all so much, we are all carried away. Now some incident happened in our life, and just our bills in life only. Today my car got some tire repair. So immediately that wave is there which affects us. And then you have my now, because I'm not able to share my screen because my laptop has some issue, and then I have to get for some not issue, its charger has some issue, so I have to get a new charger. So many ways, of course, for us we may have small small issues. Our stomach is little upset. And some people, for small people, problems are small. For big people, the problems are very big, international level. If I tell my problems, people will say, Prabhuji, what problems you have? You are very only. And for some people, their problems are quite really big and very complicated also, whereas not so much complicated. My problem was yesterday was it was Ekadasi and it was very hot from Mayapur to Hyderabad. So I just wanted to come back and have some prasadam and relax. That was the only problem I had yesterday. And today I'm very happy. I'm back in Hyderabad. It's not very hot like Mayapur. So my problem is solved. But some problems are quite big, and devotees call we feel. So the point is, the point. Yeah. So, and for Supreme Lord, there are no problems. Whatever he does, it's actually all his lila only. That is the advantage for the Lord. It looks like he's in problem, but it is not a problem only. That is how he wanted to enjoy. Lord, like Lord Rama, when Sita is going into forest, sent to forest, or when Krishna with the gopis, and even his devotees also, they never have any problems. See, this is a difference. Please try to understand the difference when you are seeing that pure devotees or Lord are undergoing troubles. There is a difference because their identification is not with the body. They don't want to satisfy the senses. They don't identify with material body and mind. Where is the question of suffering? They have emotions, but they're all spiritual emotions only. That's why they never have any trouble. Why? What is that spiritual emotion? Because they know what exactly is, because their identification is right. Ourselves, we identify wrongly, that's why we get trouble. For pure devotees, there is no that identification. Like when Yudhishthir Maharaj is, Arjuna is lamenting, or Yudhishthir is lamenting, or some gopis are lamenting. Of course, there is a difference. When gopis are lamenting, it is all spiritual only. They are not identifying with their body and mind. Very clearly, it is told. Trouble is when you identify with body and mind. Now, when they are in trouble, there is not trouble. They are experiencing bliss only. When Arjuna or Yudhishthira is suffering, that is because Krishna is keeping them in such situations so that it looks like they are suffering, but it is not possible for them to suffer anything material. They may have some material tribulations. When somebody is sitting, you have a material body, it gives pain. But that is not going to affect their level of consciousness. They're always situated in a transcendental plane. They don't identify so much with the body. Even the body may be pain, but because their mind is always pure, in a pure state, because the identification is right. As long as we strongly identify, if I identify I'm a servant of Krishna, like Prabhupada, he went through so much bodily pain when in the last part of his life, his skin was touching the bone. That gives excruciating pain. But Prabhupada's mind was always absorbed in Krishna. His body is giving pain, but mind is absorbed in Krishna because identification is right. That is what we have to achieve at the end of life. If we are able to achieve this level, we are successful in our life. This is what is success we can consider, whether I'm successful or not. To the degree we are able to keep our mind aloof from the problems, to the degree we are able to keep ourselves aloof from the identifications. Like if my sister is doing something wrong, I feel concerned about it, but I will not be so much affected by it. If my daughter is doing something wrong, mother, wife, otherwise, no, so much irritation, so much fight in the house, so much these things happen because we wrongly identify. Nothing is happening to us, but our identification gives us the problem. What is the sadhana we have to do is This is actually the sadhana. We have to train ourselves not to so much identify and trouble ourselves and trouble others also. This is actually what we are doing. This is what we have to train ourselves to at the end of the our life. By the time we should be, yes, I am servant of Krishna and Krishna gave all these things. He will take away one day. I have nothing to do with them. I have to do as whatever responsibility Krishna is giving, I will do it. But knowing that it is given by Krishna and it belongs to Krishna. This is what we have to achieve at the end of life. If we can achieve this, then we are in the spiritual world only. Being in material world, we can remain in the spiritual world. That is the point. But if we are not able to achieve, then again we have to take the birth to continue. and we actually become very emotional. We don't work on a rational platform. That is where the problem comes. We are so much emotional with everything that happens in our life. Actually, we have to control our emotions, come to a rational point. That's why we need to hear every day. Not that just as a ritual we have to hear. Whenever we are hearing, we should use our intelligence. Buddhi should be working very, very fast. Discrimination should work very fast. Then it will help us to slowly come. And not that we only, some people have very, very heavy classes. The heavy means detachment. Yeah, that's okay. But more important for us is analytically understanding things. That is what is rational intelligence. Like, what is the logic of Shastra? That is what we have to. Now, here, I am trying to explain everything, whatever logic only I am trying to explain. Why Supreme Lord is unlimited. Logically, we are trying to understand how we are getting conditioned, how mind is working, how intelligence is working. We are logically trying to understand. So this type of understanding will help to not to get so much emotional. And everybody, Krishna gives in that type of discrimination power if you try to do it. And otherwise, we only trouble ourselves. And this is what I feel many of them have problems. They come, they say, bro, this. That is true, but that is nothing to do with us. The problem is different. We are different. We cannot separate ourselves from the problem. That is where is the real problem, not the problem itself. The problem is identifying with the problem is the problem, not the problem. Because that will not change. What should change? Our identification should change. Okay, what happens? I tried, but we become emotional and the problem don't work. So this is my some comments, and I'll just we'll see one more thing. Yeah, the expansions of triple knots are innumerable. Yes, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adhyam Purana Purusham Navyavanam cha. I'll just summarize what we discussed. Like what we are discussing, first I started with how Supreme Lord is unlimited. Unlimited in the sense, if it is unlimited, it should not have a form. But here, Lord is unlimited and have a form. This is a important understanding we have in our philosophy. Because why Mayavadis have problem with this? He says, you are limiting the Lord by giving him form. We say, Lord have a form, but he has unlimited form. In that way, he is unlimited. So that is our. And he has formless also with his energies. In that way, he is having formless also, is having form also, is unlimited also. Unlimited in the sense, no form, because his energies is unlimited. But within the form also is unlimited because he has unlimited expansions also. In that way, like that, we understand. So it never contradicts. And one more important is unlimited because he's inconceivable. We cannot understand he's unlimited. In that way also, we have to see that with our limited intelligence, we cannot understand the Lord. That is also we have to accept the reality. And then we discussed how the form of Lord and the conditions also are different because Lord is always blissful and we are conditioned with our body and mind. And how because of our ego, we are identifying so strongly. These are foreign to us. See, living entity, the body, the mind, the senses are given to us. They are not ours. And we are just identifying with them and getting conditions by the ways, by the things of this world. So this is small points I wanted to share. So any discussion points?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So many points you have highlighted and about this. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Dear devotees, if you have any questions, please go ahead. I saw Mega Mataji raised her hand. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Garanga. Prabhuji, wonderful class. It was so simple to understand and so many like strong points. They're very simple and strong. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you about this, you mentioned that when there's strong false ego, it also helps you in materialistic life as well as spiritual life. But I thought there's a difference in so we have our spiritual ego or individual spiritual egos versus material false ego. So how does that material false ego help us also in spirituality? I was a little confused about that, or I don't know if I misunderstood you.
Like Arjuna, he has very, very strong ego. When Krishna, if he is chastised, when when he was chastised, immediately, if a person has very strong false ego, he awakens very fast. He says, how can you call me as like this? I will show you that how I am right. So, like, if a person is materially very good, if he comes to spirituality, he does works very hard because he identifies and he works very hard. Like somebody is lazy materially, you bring to spiritual life, he will eat and sleep in the ashram. He cannot do anything good. Because he was lazy, he didn't have good, his false ego was very low false ego. Before you bring him into ashram, he's sitting and sleeping there. Because he don't have that identification is very much important. Somebody is materially identifying, but if you are able to convince him to spirituality, when it comes to spirituality, you will identify there very strong. So the force to act comes from the identity. So now if I am identifying that I am a preacher so strongly, then I have to very nicely prepare and very nicely give, because I am identifying myself. But I am very lazy and I am told preacher, okay, let me open the book and let me see what I can. So to the degree you are having this false ego, it is very strong. When you bring, like, we say if somebody is going to gym in the morning and is working very hard early morning, waking up, we try to catch them and bring to Krishna conscious. Then in the morning he will wake up and he will do some nice service. That's why we go to very big colleges where we have very intellectuals. We try to preach in the very big colleges, because the children, they are having big ego. And if you get few of that intellectuals to Krishna conscious, here also they will do in a very powerful way, like that. Because their ego is very strong. And your ego is very strong, you can help them to, if it is brought to Krishna conscious, they also do very big. They'll have Temple of Vedic Planetarium, like that. This big is like
that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for that clarification. So it's basically, even I was then now a little confused with the determination part. I thought the quality of determination, if you have that as a materialist, that also can be used when you transfer into spirituality. You also will have that same determination to progress in spirituality. So the false ego and determination go hand in hand is what I'm understanding. Is that correct understanding, Prabhu?
Yeah. You have very false. And another thing is that determination comes with faith also. If somebody has more faith, he'll be more determined. So if somebody may that much, but if he is developing more and more, faith also helps us. Now I don't have faith, even though I am determined, but I am little fearful. If I go on this road very fast, I may go in wrong direction. Then it will be fear. Then I cannot go, even though I can drive fast. But if I am having faith that this is the right path, then that will help me to go.
Yes. So faith, determination, and false ego. So then what is because you also said further down in the lecture that, the identification, the false ego is the identification, right? So how does that, is that like connecting, is that transferring to the spiritual ego where we are connecting ourselves with Krishna versus the material people around us? Is that what it happens?
Now it is all false. What happens is we have to make it more and more spiritual by identifying ourselves with devotees, with our spiritual master, with Vrindavan Dham, with all the Brajavasis, and then we have to identify with the Guru Goshte Goshtalaya Susujane Bhusuragane. So this is what Raghunath Das Goswami's first instruction in Manas Siksha. Manas Siksha is giving the instructions to the Manas. He's telling, Arey, be attached to you. He first gives the identity. Once you get the identity, to practice bhakti becomes very easy. He's giving identity. Your identity is you identify with the Guru, you identify with the Vaishnava, you identify with the mantra he gives, you identify with the holy name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He says you identify with the Radha Krishna, the divine couple, the Vrindavan. So what is the first instruction that is given is false ego only. You give the identity. These are the people you need to identify with. This is what you are. Once I know who am I, then I know what to do. So people need to give an identity because people don't know what they are. Because they don't know who they are, they don't know what to do. That is the problem in this world now.
Yeah, that's wow. It's very enlightening answer. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. There is one question from the chat, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept a pranam. When a devotee giving instruction or guidance to a disciple, that can be taken, and when it is not saying to a person, then it seems impersonalism. Is it correct understanding as it is about factual truth? Hare Krishna.
The instructions are universal. It is not impersonal. It's a universal principles. Now I am telling Krishna is telling you are not the body, spirit, soul. It's a universal principle. Now when we are discussing that about false ego and all, they are universal principles. But what happens is somewhere you need some specific guidance. Like now in my situations, I may need some more very specific guidance. There we need to take help of somebody who knows us and who can guide. But in general, otherwise, the classes which we are hearing, there are universal principles which are applicable to all the people all the time. That we can accept from any person. It's not impersonal. It's personal only because that is given by Krishna. When Krishna, say if Krishna comes in front of us and is standing right in front of us and we say, Krishna, please instruct. Then he will say, okay, all 700 shlokas again. And he will say, okay, all the rest, and he will go. So this is what Krishna is personally telling us. If you go to Bhagavatam and read, Bhagavatam is a person. You go to Bhagavatam as a person, he will reciprocate as a person. So all these instructions are personal only. The way we take it. If you take it personally, it is personal. It's not impersonal because they are universal principles. Some specific guidance we may need, but that's otherwise it's all personal. Our philosophy is personal. Everything is personal.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
It is clearing. It is okay, the answer.
Yeah, I think Krishna Gauranga Mataji is here. I see Gail Mataji also raised her hand. Mataji, do you would like to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask question, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna.
Always wonderful to hear from you. Here a question about the false ego. So, we need to have a strong sense of identity to pursue any work effectively, right?
Yeah.
So whether that's, spiritual work or material work.
Yeah.
So when a person is identifying himself as a preacher, for example, let's say a book distributor, right? Srila Prabhupada's books. So he can do that work very effectively because he's identifying himself as a preacher.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, I feel like there could be a subtle kind of distinction between a person who sees himself as a preacher And a person who sees himself as a servant of Srila Prabhupada and therefore serving him in that way. In other words, I feel like it is still possible to see oneself as a preacher on the platform of a false ego, right? Versus seeing oneself as a preacher on the platform of Srila Prabhupada's servant, and in that way, it be more of a spiritual ego. I feel like it can go both ways because, a person's skill as a preacher might be a material skill, and he's only using that material skill in Krishna's service. So if he's using his material skill in Krishna's service, can it not still qualify as? I know this question was very convoluted because I was trying to sort it out in my own mind as I was asking, but I don't know if you can grasp the sense of what I'm saying.
What you make is actually true, Mataji. What happens is when people have this, already they have material talents, generally they identify with the talent, and because of which, like now I have certain talent. Say I can nicely convince people. So I may have more identification that I can convince people I am a nice preacher, and I may have less identify with my spiritual master. So because of this, what happens is after some time I may lose my connection with my spiritual master, and I may become some motivational speaker, and then I may lose my Krishna consciousness. I'll just remain a motivational speaker. So this is very much possible in spiritual life also. This happens to many people, and it happened also, and it will happen also in future. Because what happens is, that's what Raghunath Das Goswami is telling. No, first you identify yourself, Guru, Goshte, Goshtala, Sujane, Susu, Garani. Because first we have to identify I am a servant of Guru. Then we have to identify, then we can do the services for the spiritual master. That becomes easy. Why many of them, they could not continue in Krishna consciousness because of these reasons. They could not identify themselves as servant of their spiritual master. That's why they leave Krishna consciousness. Even though they might have rendered so much service, we may say, they did so much service. How could they live? Because they identify with the service, not with the spiritual master, as servant of the spiritual master. That's where they did the mistake. Because when you have the right identification, then we'll never leave Krishna consciousness. When we don't have the right identification, then even though sometimes there is some big achievement in Krishna conscious, but they may not continue because they did not.
Oh. Okay, Prabhu, you froze for a little bit there. I think still frozen.
You are able to hear me now?
Okay,
No,
now
Prabhu.
yes.
Now
yes.
yes, Prabhu.
It is clear, Mataji. You are.
Yeah, I think I think the point you're making is that we have to make sure that we identify ourselves properly first, free of upadis, and then we engage whatever talents we have. Otherwise, we will still be, even though we are doing Krishna conscious activities, it will still be on the material platform, actually, no?
Yeah. We don't identify with Guru or Vaishnavas, a servant of them, then it will remain material and the person may not continue. Otherwise, if he slowly making it to Guru and Vaishnavas, then it is safe. Otherwise, he just go on with this material upadis, even though it will look like spiritual activity, but he's continuing with material upadis, then it is risky for him. Some people initially we may come with material. Okay, I am also good preacher, I also do. And slowly I start identifying with my Guru, I am safe, I will be protected. But if I lose that connection, that it is risky.
And even if the practice that you were performing is as apparently spiritual as, chanting many rounds a day, right? If you're not doing that with the right sense of identification, I mean, I know chanting is like something directly spiritual, but let's say maybe even that will have less effect? Is it possible? Can you say like that?
Chanting itself will purify. Some aspects, mother, they are very, very direct Krishna conscious activity, like hearing Bhagavatam, chanting. They are directly Krishna will get purified. We will come to the right consciousness. We will come to right understanding. Even without knowing, people chanted Hare Krishna. Immediately they got that realization and they know, okay, I'm servant of Krishna. So, but there are some activities which is not like that, where we have to make little more. But their holy name is so powerful. Without knowing you do also, you'll get right identity.
Mm-hmm. But of course, I guess the more you do those direct activities, Krishna conscious activities, in the proper consciousness, the more effective it will be.
Yeah.
And the more quickly it will purify. Okay, just one last question, Prabhu, is if you could just repeat that part where you were explaining how the sense objects, especially like the holy name, how it first enters the ear hole, right? And then from there, can you describe that pathway again?
So we have first this. This is a body, external body. Then you have the internal senses. Then there is sense of hearing. So that is a subtle sense. From there it goes to our manas, and from manas generally it's an emotional state where most of the information got stuck there only. But when it comes to the holy name, it goes to the more deeper level. It goes to the level of buddhi. Then it goes to the level of atma, the soul. So when we chant the holy name, it will reach more deeper. That's why this holy name has this powerful effect on the living entities, because it is touching the soul. Even though people don't know about chanting, when they hear for the first time, they see some Rath Yatra going or some people doing Harinam, people get tears in their eyes because the soul is able to hear the holy name. And many of them have this experience. They said, suddenly in Kirtan, I'm getting tears. Why they get tears? Because it is touching the soul. That's why they feel the tears are appearing in their eyes. This is how it happens.
Okay, but you said that, one of the points it touches before it touches the soul is the manas, right? And that's where the emotions happen, no? So when the holy name touches the manas, and there is, depending upon the person, there's going to be some emotional reaction. What's the difference between that and when the effect of the holy name touching the soul?
Now it does not have any effect on. We only see the music part. When now it touches the manas, he says, "Oh, now nice music." Kirtan touches. Now when people are doing, "Oh, who is singing?" Oh, oh, okay. The Sachinanda Maharaj is singing. So you only see the musical part at the level of manas now. We don't get that emotional part. We may get some emotion with the musical part, but not real holy name. That is, soul can experience the real holy name because it experiences Krishna.
So then, therefore, when most
when
of
people are dancing and all, they may dance for the music, but when it is touching the soul, then it has like, that's why now when if holy name touches, when you sit and chant japa, we don't feel so much ecstasy. At Kirtan we feel. Two reasons are there. Why Kirtan? Because when we start chanting alone, all the anarthas will come out. But when you do together, anarthas are suppressed. That's why we can experience more of the holy name, even at the level of soul and manas also. Both levels we experience more of the holy name when we do together. That's the effect of Kirtan, because anarthas will not manifest so much. When I sit and chant, I know what all thoughts will come, all the anarthas will come. That's the advantage of doing Kirtan. It directly touches the soul. Anarthas will be suppressed.
But then how can you distinguish between, when you're in Kirtan and you're enjoying the music, and it might be very much, you might feel like intense, intensely moved by the music, right? Or the Kirtan, whatever. So if you are feeling intensely moved by like you feel like your heart has been affected, right? How can you understand that is whether? How can you understand whether that is, your heart, your manas being affected or your soul being affected?
That is by practical experience only. Theoretically,
No, because
so,
because the thing is that even by practical experience, a person might feel like this went straight to my soul. When the reality might be they were just the music. It was really the music that was really something that they found so intensely attractive.
he will affect with any kirtan that is happening, not just this person singing this instrument.
Yeah.
He's just doing Hare Krishna. Prabhupada, then also he will feel the same bliss. Sometimes you just hear, I just went yesterday in the airport, some shop I went, and he was having Prabhupada. I was so happy just hearing that Prabhupada is here. So you feel happy wherever you get kirtan.
Yeah. Okay. The musical part won't be like such a determining factor, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu. I see Jyoti Mataji also raised hand. Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my question is, I have two questions. First is the identification part that you mentioned. Prabhuji, is that identification not related to cause? Because we always identify what exactly is happening, the reasoning part we do first. So we might identify ourselves with the body at the first, or then we come into Krishna consciousness, we understand. It may be a theory right now, but we try to identify, okay, how exactly this holy name will work, and with so many doubts we start to work. So is that identification not the root cause of identification is the cause? What I believe, is my understanding correct?
I didn't get your question, Mataji. Can you means
The root cause of identification, the root cause of identification is the cause that we relate to. Means say if something happens at a body level, then we shift to a spiritual level. So there is a cause, right? So the identification happens because of the cause that is happening around us, or we relate to the cause. Is the
no.
understanding correct?
First what happens now, we identify with our body, and anything happening to the body that affects us. Like say now somebody comes and insults. Now because I'm identifying with the body, that's why that insult is affecting. First comes the identity, not because of the situation. The situation is affecting because the identity. It is like that. Like now, because I identify, say, I have my children, so I am identifying with my children so much. Now anything happens to them, good or bad, immediately it affects me because my identity is like that. Your understanding?
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay, I got it. I'll try to think over it again. And Prabhuji, second question is,
Now, if you identify, I am servant, I have to serve, then everything will change for you. I have to serve my children, I have to serve my guru, I have to serve everything. Whatever situation comes will not affect you, because in any situation I have to only serve. It's like that.
okay, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, second question is, now I'm facing some situations in my life, and I'm seeing that my heart is filled with anger, and every day that anger is increasing. So what exactly I could do that it can get reduced? Because no matter what I do, the anger is increasing every day.
Why it is increasing? Because you are identifying that some injustice happening, or this is not happening the way you want, or your desire is not getting fulfilled, which are all external. You are different from your desire. Desires are nothing to do with us, because desires are foreign to us. You have created, you are thinking the situation is not according to the way I want. Desires are not fulfilling the way I want. This person is not behaving the way I want. These things are not happening the way I want. But I want, this is from the level of manas. And manas is an instrument given to us, which is all these things are given foreign to us. They have nothing to do with the spirit soul. Spirit soul need Krishna. Spirit soul need the holy name. If you know these things, then you will not be angry. Your anger will not increase because you are seeing. You will see things different from that person or the object or the situation. You will able to see the difference. If you are able to see the difference, then it becomes very easy to handle any situations. Like some person behave in a particular way, then no need to become upset because he is going to behave like that whole life. But it is up to us whether I should get affected or not. The situations will remain like that. Whether up to us whether I get affected or not. I should know that without getting the desire fulfilled also I can be happy in life. If this without the change in situation, I can be happy in life. With even people comment me also, I can be happy hearing their comment. So it is up to me whether I want to be happy or not. It is not the situation. We have to make ourselves aloof. Don't be emotional. Come to a rational level, then your anger will not increase. If you remain in emotional level, anger will go on increasing. That's the point. Means I'm just giving a general
It's true,
answer.
Prabhuji. Whatever you are saying is exactly what happening. It's not that I'm not trying to, it's not that my sadhana or my Krishna consciousness services or whatever activities I could do with the present conditions I'm doing, but I see that the anger is increasing. I can discriminate that the anger is there. I can see that it is increasing. I react or respond, that is second part, but it is growing. So I don't know how to,
You can write to me, Mataji, maybe some specific situation because there is some two reasons. There can be many reasons. One can be your expectations may be there. If your expectations are increasing, that why these people are not doing in this way, why the situation is not. Expectations also cause. If we have some superiority that I am doing better than them, that also will cause a problem. And all these things we have to slowly, subtly work on ourselves. Whether I'm feeling superior, that's why I'm becoming angry. Because how can I, when we feel superior to others, then there is always this tendency to become angry. This person is fallen. This is like this. This is not like this. This should be like this. And there are expectations also. We have to reduce our expectations. We say whatever, we should not think we are more intelligent than Krishna. Whatever situation Krishna is arranging, we should say, yes, Krishna, I am happy with whatever you are doing. It's all Krishna is arranging. See, it is not in your control or control of the people around you. It's all control of Krishna only. Sarva Karana Karana is Krishna. If Krishna is Karana, how can I become angry on Krishna? Let Krishna do whatever way we want. You be happy. No? You can be happy in whatever Krishna is. Krishna is sending you some situations. You say, thank you very much, Krishna, and I am very happy. Because it's you who are doing, I am okay with it. I'm giving some theoretical answer, but I don't know.
yes,
You can
Prabhuji,
be
there
happy
might be. Yes,
in any
Prabhuji.
situation.
Yes, Prabhuji, you're right. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I forgot actually. You also mentioned rational one time. I think I saw in the chat box. So Krishna, I think Krishna Gaurangi Mataji, please go ahead and ask the question, Mataji. I think she was asking, what do you mean by rational, Prabhuji? And there is another question. There are so many questions in the chat box also. Mataji, you go ahead, Mataji. I will. After that, I'll read the questions in chat box.
Prabhu, I got two questions.
Mataji, your voice is so low, Mataji. Maybe you have to increase the volume.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I got two questions, Prabhuji. One question is, what is rational? You told about here that is rational. What do you meant by the rational?
Rational, Mataji, we most of the time now we are emotional. Any situation happens, we react in an emotional state. I like, I don't like. So anytime we say I like, I don't like, it's a rational state. We have to. It does not matter whether I like or I don't like. Whatever is right, we need to do. That's what is rational, which is very difficult. Now, if I told give class, I say, oh, I don't like. I say here class, I say I don't like. Why are you doing anything? I say I like it. Why are you not doing? I say I don't like. So most of the time, mind goes in that direction. I like, I don't like. Whatever going to do, we'll see whatever I like. So most of the time we are trying to go in a very comfort zone where I like, I don't like, and all the materialistic people, they go in the direction of it. But we should not go with that. We should go with what is right, what is good for my Krishna conscious. There it is rational. This is one level. Another is what? We have to rationally study the Shastra also. We have to make an endeavor to understand the Shastra also in that way. What is the logic of Shastra? What Sukadeva Goswami is trying to explain very sequentially. What Bhagavad Gita Krishna is trying to explain logically. We have to understand the logic of Shastra. Why the chapters are like this? What is behind this chapter? It is not just reading shlokas purport. Along with that, we need to learn very, very logically why it is explained in this way, which will help our buddhi also to grow very nicely, and that will help in very, very trying situations. Then our buddhi will be awakened. This is okay. This is what is explained by Krishna. This is what is told. And immediately when this crisis comes, see how Kunti reacted, how Gajendra reacted, how this reacted. So immediately that type of awakening happens, and that will help us. So that is what is rational. One is not to act on a I like, I don't like platform, and next level is trying to rationally understand the logic of whole Bhagavatam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And another question is that
Mataji, your voice is too low, Mataji. We cannot hear you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji, for letting me opportunity to ask questions. Prabhuji, the question is that we are that's the Krishna conscious, the Prabhupada's mission is we are the servant of the servant of the servant. So I got a question like that's the mood of the Krishna conscious, servant of the servant of the servant. So how it is different than the other, like suppose the people are working some other place. There also we also find it like somebody telling us, okay, can you do this, helping us or helping others or following instructions. So how it is different in Krishna conscious, because it's other what you said earlier, that universal. We also like other places we say servant to the servant, but how Krishna conscious is servant to servant is a more like it's more effective, or it's like if you don't following the or taking the instruction, you're not following by it is a offending, it's a aparad. So how to understand this? It's very intense and very, and I mean it's like it's very intense. While the other places is like it's not that intense, but here it's more effective. So can you just enlighten me? My mind is I do not understand.
You are talking outside also, they have this mood of serving like that.
But that is serving, but in Krishna conscious, as our mood is serving of the servant of the servant. Here, like Srila Prabhupada, like Srila Rupa Goswami. So how it is like more intense? Like if you suppose one Prabhu or Mata is telling another disciple to do this or do that, and suppose reluctant to do it. How you don't do it, but it has an effect. It's a aparat, isn't it, Prabhu? If we suppose some Mataji Prabhu did tell us, guiding is a aparat, isn't it? Offensive?
No.
I
It's
find
not
it
aparat.
quite intense something.
I will explain.
Because it creates something in the heart.
It is not aparad. We are not having that realization yet. So we cannot do it. So it's not a problem. We should aspire to do it. That is very important. Not that it's an aparad. Like say now somebody is telling me to do and I'm not able to do. That's okay. You're not able to do, you're not able to do. Like no, but it's not aparad. We have to slowly come to a stand. Now somebody takes, okay, you take sannyas. Can you take sannyas? Says, no, I cannot take. Oh, you are not qualified. Why are you not serious? No, I am not serious because I don't have that much realization. We can do any activity based on our
guidance. Next for the guidance, and I need to take the shelter. Now, probably for a few years, I'm just hearing, but I haven't taken shelter. So, just to confirm from you, so I need to take shelter I need to be initiated so that I can have the, now at the moment I'm just hearing. Okay, so I'm just hearing, but I'm not any kind of person to person association. So it's like,
no, it is not.
Yes, Prabhuji.
It is not aparad. See, once you get realization, and somebody may get realization just his living body, and at that time he will take shelter and he can go back to God also. So it's not a question of force. It's you, that faith need to be developed, and that Krishna gives that inspiration. Whatever practices, sincerely you try to do it, Krishna will give the
I'm not
inspiration,
doing
and
any
Krishna will.
You are the practitioner, Prabhu. I'm not doing any practicing. You are a devotee, Prabhu. You are practicing, and I'm the fallen soul, family member. So that's why I'm asking question. I'm not a practitioner at all, Prabhu. That's why I got so many questions.
No, you chant every day. You are here. That is good enough. You continue doing it. You hear and you chant, and that's good enough. That's what is sadhana. There is nothing separately we have to do. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give these two things. You chant and you hear. By doing two things, you will be able to achieve your desired goal. Don't offend Vaishnavas, and you be respectful, and you chant and you hear. That's enough. Krishna will give instruction from within. Don't compare. And if somebody is telling you did not do this, you did not do this, you say, I will do it, but I'll take time. So don't worry about what others are telling. You do whatever is right and sincerely practice, and Krishna will give inspiration.
Please pray for me, Prabhuji. Vaishnava is a kalpa vriksha tree. Vaishnava, please, Vancha kalpa taru sakripa sindhu patitanam pavane Vaishnava namo namo. I get initiated, Prabhuji. Please, I'm begging you.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna will help Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. There is one question from chat box, Prabhuji. Sushilpa Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Out of all unlimited forms, example, child, young, friend, Bhagavan, 2 hand and 4 hand and a lot of the Lord. If I want to know what is the original form, what it would be, Prabhuji. Understand the Lord's forms would be according to the way devotee contemplates on, but for Krishna himself, what would be the original form be?
The form is 16 years form in Golok Vrindavan, where he's Rasaraj playing with the gopis. That is the original form, according to Shastra. He get maximum pleasure with the gopis in Vrindavan. That is the highest enjoyment he can experience, and that is the original form of Krishna. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. So I don't see any raised hands. Well, I just want to go through the chat box one more time. Give me 1 second. I think Tiffany Mataji, do you have any question, Mataji? I think it seems your question is answered, right? Or do you want to?
No, Hare Krishna Mataji, my question was answered. Thank you, Prabhuji, for a beautiful class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Jyoti Mataji is saying, Prabhuji, eternally grateful to you. Prabhuji, you helped the Lord by addressing identification and rational concept. It took me many lives to come to platform you mentioned taught today. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, that is 100. Yeah, I don't see any more questions, Prabhuji, in the chat box. Oh, yeah, I see Prahlad Prabhuji raised his hand. Prabhuji, please go ahead, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Mataji, for allowing me to speak. Dhanva pranam to all. I don't have a question. I just had a reflection about the slok today. We were discussing initially that how unlimited can have form. And this is very nicely explained by Lord Sri Krishna in the 9th chapter, slok number 4 and 5, where he says, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagalam avyakta murtina matasthani sarvabhutani natayam. And then again he says, matasthani sarvabhutani. All these are staying in there. And then he says, pasyame yogam aiswaryam. So this portion of yogam aiswaryam, one of the meanings of the yogam is that something which is impossible materially is not so for Lord Sri Krishna. Parasya Saktir Vividev Sruvate. It is said like that. Bhavan Krishna's achintya energies make everything which is impossible for us be possible for him. So the Mayavadis, if they don't accept this, they cannot understand. But a devotee can very easily understand because he accepts this Pashyame Yogam Maishwarya. So that was my reflection, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Very, very nice. Very good.
Hare Krishna, wonderful Prabhuji, very wonderful reflection. I think, yeah, we don't have any more raised hands. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for wonderful, so much enlightening and so many practical and day-to-day things which we can relate to our life and very simply and very nicely put together, Prabhuji. So wonderful, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhu. We would want you again, want your association again and again. Please come to our sessions, Prabhu. Let's pay our obeisance to Prabhuji. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha. Bhagavatam ki jai. Praise Radha.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Prabhuji, such a
Jai.
wonderful.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe,
Gauranga.
Nityananda.